Hey, I want to welcome our viewers on a special podcast. This is the first husband-wife podcast that we've had. It's always been one or the other. Now you get to hear from two people, and we're going to talk about seniors. So this is Kennesaw Happenings. We are Golf Repeat, but we're on the Overture Kennesaw Happenings part of it. So we have two special guests, met about a week ago. I've heard about them. Finally, we have them on our show. So I'm going to go to the ladies first. So Terri, introduce yourself, just who you are, who you serve, and kind of the best way for people to understand you.
Okay, I'm Terri Haswell, and I am owner of Seniors Helping Seniors, and we get to serve a couple of different sectors of seniors, which I love about this. We get to serve seniors who are looking to do something meaningful, maybe supplement their income, maybe want to feel good about what they've done at the end of the day, get out there and contribute to their community. So we hire those seniors to go in and actually give a little assistance to their less active counterparts. So it can be as long as it's an active adult, who wants to fit that bill or who has the heart to serve others and help others and make a little bit of extra money in the process. We serve both sectors of seniors. And in turn, I like to say that we actually are helping families, because those families who have loved ones who need a little extra assistance know that they're being cared for, know that somebody's checking in on them when they can't, those kinds of things. So it's a win-win for everyone.
That is awesome. So Kip, introduce yourself and how can you add to what Terri just shared?
Well, my name is Kip Haswell. Terri and I have been married since 1999. And, we came into this venture because of Terri being a caregiver for her father for the last several years. And I don't want to, speak on behalf of her, but it really opened both of our eyes in terms of the need that was out there. As Terri mentioned, we think of it as not only serving the clients and the families, but also a somewhat overlooked part of the workforce, which are seniors. And so we certainly look for people that have compassionate hearts, that want to be part of, we consider this a family. We're looking for long-term relationships with our caregivers and our clients. And my role is to support Terri any way I can. She obviously is the face of the franchise for obvious reasons. I typically work on the back end in terms of billing and payroll and helping with the resources, also with different events and so forth. But Terri's definitely the one out meeting with different communities like Overture, with a shout out to my mom, Bertie, who lives at Overture. So
yes. Hey, look, she said you were her favorite son, so you better shout out to her.
That's right, because I was the only one in front of her at the time. But we are thrilled. This is an incredible opportunity. We love our community. We service Cherokee and Pickens County, as well as most of Cobb County. So we have been here, as I mentioned, in Woodstock since 2008. We are entrenched in our community, and this was a great way for us to give back and do something that was much needed. So that's my story, Pete, and I'm sticking to it.
Hey, that's a good one, and I love it. And I remember hearing it, but I didn't register until Terri shared. If I've heard one person say it, I've heard at least a half a dozen. I'd like to make some extra money, doing X. And, when you're a senior, living in a senior, and you can maybe be compensated to take care of some other seniors, it gives you that extra spending money that maybe you need. And people on fixed income is a word, it's fixed. But if you have the ability to earn some extra money and take care of your friends, that's a win-win there. So Terri, tell us, I'd like to dig into it just a little bit more. Is that your philosophy, you guys, or is it now I'm guessing by when I heard it's a franchise. Is that true?
It is.
Okay. So is that a franchise thing, or is that you guys individually saying that?
I mean, it is a franchise thing, but the way that we look at it as far as serving, like, I mean, that's how I present it to everybody. So I don't know if those are my words using it, but yes, we do hire. What the neat thing about it was started by Kieran Yoakum, and she used to work with Mother Teresa for 14 years. So she really, I feel like she learned from the best how to treat others with dignity and respect. So I feel like it's a formula of having seniors understanding the aging process, and it's offering empathy and not sympathy, which is a big difference. And so being able to go in there alongside their less active counterparts, it feels like you're getting help from a friend. It feels a little more respectful. You're getting treated with dignity. Like that's something that we are very, very strong about, treating with dignity and respect. And then, yes, it's just as much about both the caregiver and the client. And we want to do that for both of them.
And, you know, I obviously love what you're doing as far as taking care of seniors. And with your story of taking care of your dad and understanding firsthand what it's like to take care of a family member, which, you know, I'm sure you think of your clients as family too. But I'm really excited about that one thing, because I know in this community, there are some people that get overused. You know, the old saying, you go to the well too many times, the well becomes dry.
Right.
Well, if you ask the same people or same person to help you over and over again, the well becomes dry. And everybody has their time and everybody's doing things. They're busy. So if you need help, you know, it's okay to help a person one time, but if you're repeatedly asking them the same thing, come and check on me, come and do this, and they're doing it out of the goodness of their heart, their time's worth something. So do you just do you make that aware in the community that people could earn some extra money and actually service their neighbors and friends?
Definitely. I've gone into senior centers and talked to people there, and actually hired caregivers right out of it, because they're active, right? They're already there doing things, and they're playing games, they're going on outings, they're doing those kinds of things. But yes, I mean, like I'm thinking of one person in particular, you know, she's had a difficult time with some things and unexpected things come up. And she was like, I feel like this is God sent. Like, I can't believe that you walked in and they told me about this and we got together and here we are. You know, she was just super excited about the opportunity for that.
So when you were taking care of your dad and you thought, you know, you really liked the whole idea of taking care of seniors, did you all of a sudden start going and looking for a franchise, or how did you come to seniors helping seniors?
Well, I've always had a passion for seniors. I mean, I worked for a company, it was a nonprofit before we had our child, and it was south of the airport called Christian City, where it was a home for children and seniors. So even though I was not in the same department, I would run down there at lunchtime and go dance with the seniors when they had the big bands and do all of that stuff. So loved that. Raised our child we adopted a grandparent. He played ball when he was 2 years old with, you know, seniors, that kind of thing. So it was a natural fit for me, but then being able to really understand, I didn't even know I was a part of a sandwich generation, you know, where I'm taking care of family, but also my dad needed some help as well. And my stepmom, like, they needed help also. So right at a busy time in our lives where our son, it was his last 2 years of high school, so many activities going on. He's our only child. You know, you want to be there for those things, but yet you're juggling these things, right? And I loved all of the time I spent with my dad. Don't get me wrong at all, but I do feel like family members sometimes need to just exhale. They need to just be able to take a step back and be the daughter or be the, you know, the son or whatever to their parents instead of being the caregiver, you know, because the role changes. So after going through all of that and getting a great understanding of what it's like now in that situation, Kip and I, became empty nesters. Like, I lost my dad, and then 2 months later, my son, he moved out to college. I mean, so we became empty nesters. So it was like, now what? And this opportunity was presented to us, and as the way I tell it is, I got chill bumps the whole way through. I'm like, this is what we're meant to do. This is our experience, and we're to use this experience and take it and help others. So that's how we got into this. It was just it was the right fit.
That's a great story. Now, I know our viewers are thinking, okay, it's 5:00, you're coming home and you're talking about the day. How do you separate the work from the pleasure? Like, do you all talk about the business all the time? Do you have other activities? How do you keep it separate? We're going to ask your husband on this.
Okay.
So, Kip, how do you separate the two since you're working together, in a business?
Sometimes it's difficult because obviously we're looking for space, but we do work a lot out of our home. This evening, I'm going out with my next door neighbor and friend and another friend out to dinner, and Terri doesn't let me come home until after a certain time to make sure she has time to herself. So we are trying to make sure that we have that balance for sure.
Right.
And
very
like
important.
he mentioned before too, we're very involved in this community. So we've got a lot of friends, which is great. So that keeps us busy and doing things like that too. So we like to contribute and we're social. I mean, we love our community and our friends. So.
But it's very
awesome.
difficult to talk about the business 24/7, especially as you're ramping it up and there's just so much interest and need out there, and people that hear the name and Seniors Helping Seniors and they see our model and what we stand for. I mean, there's a lot of home healthcare agencies, but we are truly different. And we abide by that. We only want to hire mature adults that have a compassionate heart to join this family. This is something that we're going to be doing for years and years down the road, and we want them to come along on this journey, as well as help a lot of people in the process in our community.
That's really good. It gets me excited because the two do work together. What would you say the top couple services that you're currently providing to the seniors? What have you seen the most need for? Let's go
Terri, you want to take that one?
This one.
Sure.
Yeah.
I mean, companionship is number one. Like a lot of times we just saw a thing on the news last night that there's a loneliness epidemic. The general surgeon has a report out on that. So that right there in itself is huge. I mean, especially coming off of COVID and all of the things that we've all been through, we know what that can impact. So companionship is, I would say, the number one thing that we do. But in the meantime, in addition to that, I should say, comes helping, some people, if they're less active, they might not be able to do some of the things around their house. So whether it's light housekeeping or, transportation, because maybe some people can't drive anymore, and taken to doctor's appointments and things like that. Just those are the kinds of things we do. But we also have the personal care side, which is a little more hands-on. So if someone needed help with dressing or bathing or toileting, any of those kinds of things, we offer that as well. So, but I would say companionship is the biggest thing so far, but that incorporates a lot.
And that has come up a lot. I go to a PT, and they put in an engagement communication system, and it basically helps the PTs communicate with all the patients. I mean, they can't be sitting there talking to every patient that calls in. So they've developed this sophisticated communication system. So I was telling him as we were talking, it's needed. And all of a sudden in the podcast, it came up about the mental health issue that's been really neglected. And because of COVID, and even before COVID, loneliness is a serious issue. And especially with seniors, because you move into this new facility, or not new, but you move into a new facility, you see 150 people, whatever. You're trying to fit in, you're trying to, get along with people. It's overwhelming. It's overwhelming at any age, much less when you're a little bit older and you got to remember all these names and all this kind of stuff. So to have somebody that you can be with to talk through some things, I imagine that does have a big impact on the seniors to have that person that's there to answer questions and just to make sure they're not alone and have that loneliness. They actually, I know what my point was. They're coming out with a system that's after the physical therapy engagement, it's the mental health. How are you feeling today? How's your mood? Just if you don't ask, people aren't going to tell you. They isolate, and all of a sudden they've gone down a deep, dark path, and nobody knows about it because they didn't see them for 3 weeks or 4 weeks. So that accountability and that idea of having companionship is huge out there. So, I mean, I commend you for that, because I think that's so needed out here. So let's go back to a little bit. How long have y'all been servicing like this area? Is it like last year, or how long have y'all been out here helping?
Well, we of course are fully licensed through the state of Georgia, so that took some time getting through there.
Sure.
But what the neat thing, again, this, like, I get chill bumps with, is we actually, quote unquote, opened our doors on the 1-year anniversary of my dad's passing. So June 1st is when we officially opened our doors and everything. But we've had such a great response, like what you've talked about and Kip's talked about too, that we've got several clients, we've got several caregivers. I mean, going around and meeting the community, people are like, I brought a caregiver with me to a community, and this lady was like, "You're the difference. I see you're the difference." It's hiring someone who's going to be loyal, who has a work ethic, who has that understanding. And she was like, "Oh, the whole thing about empathy and sympathy, I just went to a class on that." And she's somebody that worked there, so she gets it. She's like, "Oh, that's," so it's been really neat. So officially, long answer to say, officially June, but we really started hiring before that and everything, but just opening our doors in June.
Yeah, it's a entrepreneurship and small business is very demanding. I mean, it's hard to get everything ramped up. So what would you say when I like the idea that you're working as a team. So how do y'all split up the responsibilities, like within your team? I mean, maybe I will give Kip a chance to answer, because he's back there. I know I don't want him to fall asleep while we're talking. No.
So Terri is the CEO, and I was joking with our admin today, who is helping us out, and we're very fortunate to have her on board. And we had a client call, and Terri, it's a special type of person to be able to convey our services in such a way that the potential client understands that I see why this is different, and I want you to come alongside us and help. And she just does a terrific job. So she is, I screen the caregivers. We have a lot of caregivers that want to join our team, but we're very selective because, as I mentioned, we want to hire mature adults. And so that can eliminate a lot of potential candidates, but we want to abide by this mission, seniors helping seniors. So Terri does the final interviewing. She's the one that's talking with the clients. I basically handle the billing, the payroll, the books, try to make her life easier, attend events like we did last Friday at Overture, the Luau, which I also wanted to just get back to real quick. We were talking about loneliness. We've had several residents that say, and this is at Overture and of course other places, I would love somebody to check on me once a month, or I could use your services, but I don't know if I need, 3 hours a day, twice a week. Well, for facilities like Overture, we have community care packages that we have developed so that we can go service various clients in the same community. But it doesn't have to be a minimum. It can be just light meal prep, changing the linens, things like that. So we are trying to cater to the needs of folks, not only that might live alone or with, family member, but folks that are in communities like Overture that might just need a little help too. So we are trying to be flexible to the needs of all of the potential clients that need our services.
No, that's really good. Do you, I had hernia surgery 2 weeks ago. And so I asked the doctor, I said, so, I take care of myself. So I said, what do you recommend? Do you think I could do it completely by myself? He said, well, why don't you just do it for a few hours after you come home, and then the next morning, and then you have somebody with you for a few hours the next morning. Well, the person, I didn't know you guys existed, quite frankly. I mean, I didn't understand it. I had heard about y'all. But so one of the persons that came was a young guy. He was 23. He was an engineering student. And I said, holy mackerel. Well, I said, how did you get to be here? He said, he applied. I said, are you joking? A college student applying to be a caregiver? I mean, it was so strange in my mind because a lot of the young kids don't really think about being caregivers. It was, and he was excellent, absolutely excellent. So to have a heart at a young age, what about young people that say they want to learn how to take care of seniors and make some extra money? Is that something that y'all are open to?
We are, because there are, I mean, think about it too. Younger people can handle things that probably some of the other people can't.
Right.
So we are open to that for sure, but we definitely want to keep as a majority, that companionship and that connection. I mean, our mission is to create meaningful connections while fulfilling the needs of our caregivers, our clients, and the families. Mm-hmm. So as long as if somebody's an old soul, they get it. They still get it. I think it really depends on the heart and the person.
Yeah.
But I mean, yes. So, I mean, if there can be that connection, and we see, when you told me that just now, that gave me, I love that. I think that's so neat that this guy's doing that. But if they're an old soul, if there's somebody that we feel that's a good fit and a connection that can make connections, we're certainly open to that for sure.
And we're going to have clients that are going to require 12 and even 24-hour care. And as Terri mentioned, we're all getting older, and it's difficult to service the needs of a senior that requires 24-hour care. So we may need a younger, maybe potentially stronger, somebody with more stamina to be able to assist in those situations. So there certainly is a place, but in terms of the overall general idea behind this caring concept of seniors helping seniors, we are looking for primarily mature adults. But we are not. We would certainly look at all opportunities to help people.
And there's it's not like you go out there looking, but if somebody falls into your lap, you certainly have the system. What type of training does a person that wants to be involved in helping other seniors, what would that look like from your company?
You want me to take this one?
Absolutely.
I think Kip has just nominated you.
That's fine. Well, like I mentioned before, we're definitely, licensed by the state of Georgia. So we require the background checks, or the full-blown background checks. We require, the TB test, all of the things. But we also provide the training that meets the Georgia state requirements. So for a companion, it's only it's 6 hours of training, and then plus CPR and first aid training as well. And we provide that training for people. So that makes it easy. It's computer oriented, and you can access it on your phone or your computer or whatever through the training, and you get a certificate upon completion of each class. For a personal care, the more hands-on, the state requires 40 hours of training to become a personal care aide. So if they're not already a CNA or have some other kinds of training, but only 20 hours before you can actually start working with a client. And then you can do 20 hours within 6 months after we're starting to work with clients. And we provide that as well.
That's good.
And what's neat through the resource of Care Academy that is provided by the home office, just another reason why we wanted to join this family of seniors helping seniors, is if we have caregivers that want to expand their knowledge base, or maybe they want to move from companion to personal care, we have the tools necessary to educate them so they can broaden their care services as well through Care Academy. So the resources are just tremendous. And not only that, but also for the families. Terri, if you wanted to discuss a little bit about the family room that we can provide. The living room.
Sounds similar to what, Pete, when you were talking about the communication there with your physical therapy and stuff, we have a system that helps streamline the communication between family members, doctors, our caregivers, us. So we're all on the same page. And there's a feature called the family room So like if a client's family doesn't live here in Georgia or whatever, and they're not able to access it, they can get on and see, what's being done. They can see a picture if the caregiver, uploads the picture. They can, or if someone just got out of the hospital, the doctor can put in the new medications and update that kind of stuff and make sure that they're being cared for and stuff. So it really streamlines everything for that too.
Wow,
So
that's in itself is a comforting to know, because most of the time in families you got all the dynamics of different family members, and not every family member has the same philosophy, but you have to get along when you're taking care of your parents or parent, whatever it is. So to have a place that you can all communicate, I think that's a great idea.
That's neat.
So we always like to go, our viewers always like to know, like, what do you like to do when you're not working? What is your favorite thing you'd like to do, Terri?
What is my favorite thing to do? Well, I like dancing.
Okay. Like what type of dancing?
Well, I mean, just my friends and I, like we do sometimes go if there's a line dancing or if there's dancing like that. We've done some dance classes. Kip has been very gracious and going alongside me and doing something like that.
Yeah.
Love movies, like we said, concerts. I mean, we're in Woodstock and there's a lot of the concerts monthly and live music, things like that. We enjoy that. Just family and friends hanging out.
That's awesome. How about yourself, Kip?
Well, I'm a huge sports fan. So anytime I have the opportunity, I have two good friends that both have season tickets to the Braves game. So I make sure I stay on their good side. So I love watching sports. Terri and I love to travel as well when we get the opportunity. Mentioned spending time with friends and family. During COVID, we started doing a lot of walking and hiking. So we like to do that. We like to get outside when we can, especially since when you're starting a new business, you're putting in a lot of hours. So that's basically what we like to do. And if Terri wants me to continue to step on her toes on the dance floor, if she can handle the pain, I'll do that occasionally too.
Well, I tell you, until you get to be really good, there's always that stepping on the toes. I mean, nobody starts out being an excellent dancer. It's a gradual thing of learning. And we have line dancing here every other Sunday. So I've been learning how to line dance. So
it's fun.
It is. That absolutely is. I mean, I think that the key thing is just remain active in whatever you do. And,
Definitely.
Sitting and not being inactive just doesn't work out. The body is meant to be active.
Does Bill teach? I'm sorry. Does Bill teach the line dancing?
No, but Andres does. She does a couple of. Yeah, he comes occasionally, but I was giving him a hard time the other day. I said, Bill, are you just like a one-person dancer or one type of dancer? Because I haven't seen you in the line dancing. So I challenged him to join us for a little bit of extra dancing, because he has the same moves, so he needs to broaden his dancing style. I did go up to Murphy, North Carolina, just to check out that. They have trails up there, beautiful small town, and there's a casino up there that we're trying to investigate as like a trip up there with the seniors and stuff like that.
Fun.
Yeah, I've never been up there. Pardon?
We were there last month. That was the first time that I had been up there.
Really?
We went to that casino and donated some money to the slots. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I didn't donate this time, but I know plenty of people that do. My friend, he goes, put $20 on Red 9, and I didn't even get a chance to do it because I said I negotiated 25% of the winnings because I said 30 and he knocked me down to 25, but I never got a chance to put that $20 bill on there, but maybe next time. But yeah, there was a cute restaurant there in town. I mean, it was delicious. I had pineapple, walnut, banana pudding, and it was to die for. It was so good. I've never had walnuts, pineapples mixed into a pudding mix. And it was just, the restaurant had been there 28 years or something. So that was one of their favorites. So there are some cool things in North Georgia. So I know you guys got plenty of work to do, and I wanted to thank you for being a guest. We always ask our guests, like, do you know anybody like yourselves? because the minute I met y'all, I knew that we call them dolphins, givers. People that are givers is the ones we like to talk with, and we like our seniors to feel comfortable with. Any particular person you can think of, either one of you off the top of your head?
Think of to be on the podcast to talk.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I mean, I do know people. I'm trying to. There's even realtors and stuff. Like I know people. Like I have a friend who's a realtor.
Yeah.
And she says, I think I need to be doing this in my spare time, though. So she wants to become a caregiver too, because she just has a heart for seniors and stuff. So
that would be perfect.
We know many people. Yes. So I mean,
I'll have Martina reach out to y'all and just, if you can give her just one name of somebody you think you're exactly right. If they're wanting to serve, that's a good thing. I mean, that's a totally good thing. And so how can people get a hold of you?
And people, before we do that, I have somebody for you, and I'm not being not nepotism or anything, but my brother, Mike, also has a business called Storing Treasures.
Okay.
So it's a personal journey to financial freedom. It's very interesting how he helps people, biblically based, and the different personalities that are uncovered in terms of, how you spend your money and so forth, and investing, so forth. So that might be something of interest.
Yeah, please give them tell them to call us, because we would love. I'll have Martina reach out she usually calls you afterwards to let you know when it's live anyway. So if you just can send me an email or something, we'll get a hold of them. We'd love to have them on.
That sounds good.
I believe in the treasures things. As you get older, you have a lot of treasures, and figuring out how to do that is not easy, because we accumulate a lot of stuff, and you can't keep everything. So you have to have a way to store treasures. So I don't know the concept, but I know the word of it, and that makes sense.
Very interesting. It's very interesting. As you discover, you might not realize what type of personality you have until you investigate how you spend your money, invest your money, tithe, everything. So it's fun along the way. So I think that your audience would really enjoy it. In terms of getting in touch with us, our number is 470-995-6977, 470-995-6977, and our website, www.shs-northwestatlanta, Northwest Atlanta is spelled out, .com, and anybody can send us an email at info@shs-northwestatlanta.com.
That is awesome.
Can I say one more thing, Kip?
Yes, absolutely.
You forgot about your sister, who has been in the senior world forever too. And she actually has an estate sale. So she's actually helped seniors relocate, an amazing business, but she's transitioned. She's seen that the estate sale is a big need too. So she does that too.
Yes.
So she is great. And she's in that area too. She's not far from Overture and stuff too. And her name's Tina Sensing. So she would be a great
I love that. I love that. The estate sale is a big need, because, we were talking about on one of the podcasts about China, not China, the country, but, your China that you get when you get married. The young kids don't want it. They don't want China. They don't use China. And so all of a sudden, what do you do with all this China? The kids don't want it. And you're sitting there carting it around everywhere you move. And you got to figure out, maybe there's somebody out there that would want it, that collects it or whatever. So I think I totally believe in estate sales. Get your let's just say junk is another person's treasure. I mean, don't think you got to throw everything away. Just make it available to somebody else, and they could find a home for it and love it and have a good time with it. Right. So
and she has a huge following too. She has a huge following of people.
That would be perfect. I actually wrote down those too, so that would be great. Awesome. And we'll put, for our listeners, we're going to put links in the show notes, so it'll make it easy. So if you missed when Kip was giving that information, you'll look in the show notes and you'll be able to see contact information, clicks and stuff, like links to get to things. So just, we appreciate you guys very much. This is the first husband-wife podcast, so nobody else can be the first. You guys are the first. I mean, I always like to be first. And I got to give one shout out because I got to rub it in a little bit. So Sarita and a bunch of the girls, they play canasta. And so I played one game, and Ann and myself won by like 50 points. And I retired after one win. Totally undefeated, can never be. I won my first game, and then I'm never playing again. I mean, it's a long game. Yeah, exactly. So being first does have its advantages. I don't want you to retire from this because you don't want to retire at the top. You want to continue serving. So,
as Ricky Bobby once said, I better be first than last. So,
yes, totally agree. Totally agree. Well, thank you all so much. I'm gonna ask Terri to give a parting thought or idea or quote or whatever you want to leave our viewers with.
A parting thought or parting. I mean, one of the things that I think of most is just, like I said, that connection is huge. Yeah. And it's to have connection. I mean, what they were talking about last night too on that thing is it affects your mental, physical, and emotional health. Yes. So, and just to have, like Kip mentioned, one of those, somebody's asked us, please, I just need someone to check on me. Yeah. And, so connection is like that is at the heart, that's my strength there is connection. And I think that's what we are putting into our company. And we want, our caregivers to be connected. So we want to create that. We want our family, our clients and all of that. So I just really want to say that's what we offer, connection and hope. Just, knowing that people see you, they know you, know, so that's what we offer and we love it. We're so blessed to be able to do that.
Wow. Hey, Kip, she knocked it out of the park. You're going to take her out to dinner. I mean, that one is really, really good. So,
yes, it is.
So
hey, thank you so much.
Hey,
we really appreciate it. You're doing a great job.
Absolutely. We want to continue to bring guests like yourself because we don't want you to be a well-kept secret. And once people hear you, understand what you're doing, you won't be a secret at all. And not that you are, but I'm just like, we want more people to know about you guys.
Well,
okay.
Thank you, Pete.
You bet. All right. Thanks for being on. Okay.
Thank you for having us.
You bet.